Hey guys, it's ExandShadow, and welcome back to Let's Play Trauma Center New Blood. In the last part, well, we stopped Sigma and dealt with a little bit of a burning... I was gonna make a pun, but I guess I should just ignore it. Anyway, I'm sorry about the lack of updates last week, but this episode has been troubling me for quite a while because this first part's all exposition. It's like literally all exposition, and I can't say anything funny about exposition because it's exposition, and it's not even like funny exposition that I can rag on. It's a narrator talking with them, explaining what's going on. There's nothing to riff here. There's nothing to do with this. It's just frustrating in a lot of ways, but I will move on, and so I will just ignore what's happening and discuss a little thing that I was thinking about earlier that I've already kind of brought up, but this Caduceus, the one that Marcus, Valerie, and Elena are at, this is the real Caduceus USA. Not the Caduceus USA that was in Trauma Center Second Opinion, because that Caduceus USA is actually Caduceus Japan. I know I've gone over this before, but it's really important to bring up because we're about to be introduced to a new cast of characters in this area, and the first time I played New Blood, I was very confused. I'm like, wait, where's Victor? Where's Tyler? Where's everyone? And then you just gotta realize that this is a completely different Caduceus. So yeah, that's what's been going on. I know it's dumb. I don't get why they had to change it in the first place either, because it's just like, if it takes place in Japan, just say it takes place in Japan. I remember in Second Opinion there was one point where they had Derek walk out into the street while he was moping and whatever, and then they had all these Japanese signs on the background, and I'm like, what? And then I think they had some sort of bullshit title that says he goes to Chinatown or whatever, and I'm like, really, game? Really? Just say they're in Japan. It's easier that way, as opposed to just trying to say whether or not you're in America or not. I also, Phoenix Wright does this sort of thing kinda too, but they're at least a little bit more ambiguous about it. They're kind of like, sorta, we're maybe in Japan, but I don't really know if we are or not, so we're just going to be in both, and that'll be fine. So, yeah, that's sort of my problem with this sort of thing. If you're in Japan, just say you're in Japan. It won't alienate your audience, I promise. Though that's sort of an odd thing, is that for some reason Trauma Center is a lot more popular over here than it is in Japan, which is why New Blood and Trauma Team actually take place in America. The America, or I just should say the West, because, you know, we're not the only country around, I swear. But the Western nations seem to like this series more than the Japanese ones, which is odd to me, but whatever. I'll keep playing the games as long as they keep making them. Speaking of that, hey, Atlas, you know that big tablet screen that the Wii U has? That'd be really great for a Trauma Center sequel, you know? Just keep that in mind.
Now, this is your office.
Wow. Look at this equipment. I knew Caduceus would be amazing, but this is too much.
Too bad you're just going to be using the office to write reports and papers the entire time, so you're not actually going to be able to use the fancy doctor equipment in here. But, it's something, I guess.
We dedicate ourselves to research here, but at the same time, we see regular patients.
Then how does that make you different than other hospital? I've never gotten this. It's just like, Caduceus is supposed to be this gigantic hospital dedicated to curing diseases that are just like these incurable things. And then later on, but however in this game they say, oh, we see normal patients too. And I'm just thinking, well then, shouldn't you be seeing the patients that aren't normal? Don't you send normal patients to other hospitals? And then later on in this own game they say, we don't accept walk-in patients. And I'm like, well, do you see normal patients or do you not? Trauma Center, make sense for once.
I was going to ask Dr. Tsuji to remove the gallstones, but I can't find her anywhere.
Okay, well, you see, in a hospital, there's this little thing called an intercom where you could go, paging Dr. Tsuji, and then, oh, there she goes, Dr. Tsuji, right there. She can do your operation for you. But, So anyway, this is Dr. Everett, who's incredibly unimportant. I mean, he's like ridiculously unimportant. He does nothing for the plot. I mean, I guess it's nice to have another character there for character building and snarky comments or whatever, but Dr. Everett does literally nothing for the plot, so I don't get why he's here. I also don't get why we're operating on him right now. Well, actually, I do know why we're operating on him right now. Trauma Center New Blood doesn't have any sort of just dialogue missions. In Second Opinion, there were some missions where it was just dialogue. So you would just, if you don't give a fuck about the story, you just have to press the select button and scroll through all the dialogue really quickly. But in New Blood, there's an operation in every single mission, so you know they had to have us operate on something. So I guess they just pulled this right out of their ass. So Anyway, this is a gallstone operation, which is again another one of those sort of operations that just shows up once and then is never brought up again. Which I like and I dislike. I like them because it's it's something new. It's a chance for us to do something different, to sort of stretch our muscles in a different way. But however, another thing is that what I like in a game is when they add new mechanics and then put a twist on those mechanics later on. And when you've got a one-shot operation like this, you're not really introducing anything that's going to be used creatively later on. You're just introducing a new idea for it to be ignored immediately after. I mean, what they were trying to do in Under the Knife 2 was use New Blood's operation techniques in sort of a unique way, but they don't really do that very well, I find. I find that Under the Knife 2 just ends up feeling like a rehash of New Blood in a lot of ways, only with the DS controls, which I don't like them as much as the Wii controls, but I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, this is a gallstone operation. Pretty much what you gotta do is you gotta remove the gallbladder, which is the green lumpy thing right there. However, while you're trying to do that, there are gallstones going through that vein, whatever you call that. So what you need to do while you're doing this is keep a track on the gallstones passing through. So you use the ultrasound, pass through it every once in a while, and if you see a gallstone, which is that little rock-looking thing, you gotta zap it with the laser, and then you just take care of that. It's really not that hard to keep a track of. It actually reminds me a lot of the thrombi operation from Second Opinion, only this is a little bit more easier to deal with. Just because you don't have to, in Second Opinion, the thrombi operation was really annoying because there were so many different processes to that. The thrombi operation, you had to like use the ultrasound, then you had to stop it with the forceps, then cut it out, then suck it out with the drain. In this case, all you have to do is find it with the ultrasound, then zap it, so it's a lot quicker. And really, but in this case, however, you also have to remove the gallbladder at the same time, but it's really not that hard. I'd imagine that this operation would be pathetically easy if you had a friend with you, because you could just have one focus on all the gallstones and have the other one take out the gallbladder at the same time, so you know, that would be really easy. However, I've never tried co-op before because I have no friends. I'm just kidding, I have some friends, but no friends that play Trauma Center, so it's just like, do the co-op stages get harder? I've heard that they are harder than the normal stages, because if you've got a friend with you, they need to up the challenge in order to make it somewhat fair, you know? Even though this game is hard enough already, but whatever. It's an Atlas game. You should expect to get your ass handed back to you on a silver platter, beaten till pulp. So anyway, yeah, we always do our best. That explains why I get S's and why I haven't gotten an S rank so far, and I usually only get C's. So anyway, yeah, Q&A. Oh, Q&A session. So anyway, in the comments to this video, post your questions that you'd want me to answer, and I'll get around to it. Never. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing a Q&A session anytime soon.
You assisted in an operation
Or
on your first
am
day
I?
here? You must be good.
I guess you'll never find out.
Doctors who are good.
Anyway, this is
Sounds like you
Leslie. Oh yeah, I forgot her name because she's so inconsequential. Again, she's just another doctor who has no impact on the plot at all. That's, I think, one thing that I think that Second Opinion did do better than New Blood, is that the side characters in Second Opinion did have a purpose at least once, and I think they were developed a little bit better. In New Blood, there's about the same amount of extra people in the hospital, but only a few of them get character development. In Second Opinion, most of them got character development, so that's one thing that I think Second Opinion did better, though overall I think that New Blood just has a much better story, because it just doesn't take itself so seriously.
We received a report from the National Security Council and have begun an independent investigation. Its threat level is unknown, but I can say that the pathogen possesses astonishing mobility.
That's why so many people have been infected by it. Oh wait, one person has been infected by it. Huh.
Basing that assumption on the testimony of our 2 new doctors, yes? Oh, pardon me. I'm Kanae Tsuji, a surgeon here. It's nice to meet you both.
Now, actually, the first time I saw Kanae there, I thought she was supposed to be evil, because, you know, glasses, shiny glasses, you know, that's always evil. But, nah, she's a good guy. Or, kinda. She doesn't really do a whole lot either. Well, actually, technically, she has some impact on the plot. Kind of indirectly, actually, but she does more than Dr. Everett or Leslie do, or whatever. So, that's a plus.
There was a leak, no matter how small.
The NSC never tells us their source of information. I bet the military is involved in it somehow.
Yes, because as we all know, the military has so much interest in using chemical weapons, because that's totally legal and doesn't violate the Geneva Convention or anything.
What?
Prior to your transfer here, we received reports of suspicious cases from various countries. We've already discussed those cases in a previous meeting.
Now, this is something that doesn't really make sense, because before this point, Wilkins was the only one who had stigma. It's pretty much if you look at the plot, it's pretty obvious that Wilkins was the first case of stigma. And then, right after Wilkins got kidnapped, Marcus and Valerie were pretty much immediately transferred to Maryland. That's where Caduceus USA is, Maryland, right? Anyway, so it couldn't have taken more than like a week for Marcus and Valerie to move to Maryland so they could work at Caduceus. I mean, it would take a little bit of time, but it couldn't have taken so much time that there would be enough time for whoever is using stigma to get it over in different countries. Like, later on we'll see it's in South America, they discuss cases in Europe. I don't think they ever bring up Africa, but Russia gets brought up at some point, so yeah, there's not enough time for that to happen. Trauma Center New Blood, I love ya, but keep your plot straight.
As I was by what they already knew.
Not really. A doctor considers any and all possibilities.
Even if they have no way of happening. We have to consider it at least. Then I say, nah, that's stupid, and move on with my life.
Well, we've got more important things to worry about. We're leaving for the tech department tomorrow morning at 8, right?
Yes, so don't be late.
Alright, then I'm gonna go home and get some sleep.
Does that sound like an excuse for Marcus to not go to sleep? Oh, yes. Because, as we all know, Marcus never gets to take a break. So yeah, again, the price of having an operation in every mission is having an operation in every mission, you know? Sometimes they just come out of nowhere and have no place. They just don't belong. There's just no reason for them to be here. You can pull out there was a car accident out of your ass maybe like once or twice, but after a while you need to do something. You need to actually write your operations into the plot, you know that? Oh well, at least they're not trying to, like, make the entire mission about the operation when it's clearly filler and just wasting our time, right? Right?
Vitals aren't stable either. Please hurry. Careful. There's no time to lose. Let's begin immediately.
So anyway, yeah, this is just a pretty standard first aid mission, you know, your cuts, your glass pieces, general standard stuff, so you shouldn't have too much problem with it. Actually, I don't think there's been that much glass to remove from this point in the game. In Second Opinion, you in the early game, it was pretty much all car accidents. Actually, you dealt with glass shards and lacerations all the time in Second Opinion, just because Second Opinion spent so much time trying to do guilt operations that they couldn't think of anything for you to do when you weren't doing guilt in the early game. So they just sort of pulled out the car accident thing 5 times in a row. And it's just like, come on, dude, I want to do something different. That's definitely, although, I mean, having just a standard first aid mission is nice every once in a while, just for something normal. But, you can't do the same thing over and over again, otherwise you get kind of bored, you know? Anyway, another thing about Trauma Center that never makes sense. How come only one lung is always hurt in these things? It's just like, I'm pretty sure a car accident, if someone was in them, they get a few glass shards in both lungs, or maybe in some of the other wounded areas. It's just like, you don't get hurt in one thing. If I get punched in the stomach area, I'm not going to be like, oh, my kidney, that's the only thing that got hurt. I'm going to be like, oh, my small intestine in my stomach and my kidney all got hit by that punch, but the kidney was that one hit by the brunt of the force so that that's the one that hurts the most. Actually, I don't know if I would be able to properly discern whether it was my kidney or my stomach. I mean, I guess I could tell what the general area was, but that's about it. So anyway, just standard stuff. You use the antibiotic gel in the small pools of blood so that they don't become big pools of blood. You know, your standard things. Though actually, if you use the, on the normal lacerations, like the sort of the long cuts, the ones that you need to suture but you don't need to use the forceps to pull them in, if you use the antibiotic gel on those when they look like they're sort of bleeding, the blood will go away and you're more likely to get a cool if you do that. So that's a nice little tidbit that you can do, though most of the time I just sort of ignore that and just suture it right away, because I'm so good at suturing that I can get a cool every time. At least in this game, and under the knife, in second opinion, the suturing is terribly imprecise, which is part of the reason why I don't like that game, because you do a lot of suturing in that one. So, yeah.
Alright. Thanks, Leslie. That was very impressive. If you don't mind, I'd like to assist you again sometime.
You didn't do anything!
Man, talk about a long day.
Well,
I said,
this is what you
baby,
wanted, right?
it's
Continue
3 a.m., I must be going? What? That operation only took like 3 minutes. You couldn't have been here for like 5 hours, or whatever. Anyway, Marcus, just go to bed using the beds that they have in the hospital, because I'm sure that they have them in something like this. Even if there's not like a bed for doctors to use, there's gotta be one for a hospital patient bed or whatever. Anyway, next time we do more stuff. I'm ExandShadow, and I'll see you guys later.